I want to talk to you about my friend Charlie Crawford. He's a 10-time NFR qualifier.
Charlie Crawford, time to just shake it out and win. Got it on him fast, set
there
up.
We are.
Here's a day
nice
money
run.
lead. You betcha 3-8.
That's an absolute perfect run. Timing was perfect from the time the first swing is up. He's got the control. Charlie made it happen by being timed up with his horse with the steer, and being able to not just rope, but to pick that steer's head up without changing the momentum for the heeler at all.
We know his beautiful wife, Jackie, all three of their beautiful children, the founder of the Liberty and Loyalty Foundation, which this year will exceed $1 million raised for military and first responders. I've said it 1,000 times. Charlie, it's time to rope, nod and ride, whip and spur. I want to welcome you to the Charlie Crawford Podcast. Let's ride.
LD, we're on.
Okay.
Lari Dee Guy, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming all the way upstairs to come travel this far to come do a podcast. I appreciate it.
Well, I need a break from the rest of your family every now and then, so it kind of worked out.
I always tell everyone, too, that it's not going to take us long, too, before my kids will be looking for every nook and cranny for where LD is.
Yeah.
So if the door opens and one of them sneak through, I promise you they're looking for Aunt LD right now, that's for sure.
Man, I love them.
Yeah, they think of you as family for sure.
Yes, sir. Same here. I told Jackie the other day I can't wait to get that little girl over there. She wants to dress like a cowgirl every day. I said, I can't wait to get her over there and get her ranching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I seen it at Woodward. The other day when I had her by herself, we had to get a cowgirl hat. It called her a seat belt. Took me a minute to find. I'm like, well, this is your cowgirl belt. No, it's my seat belt.
Oh, yeah.
But she was like, I need my cowboy hat. So no, it's your cowgirl hat. You're a cowgirl. And after that, now everything's name a cowgirl hat.
That's right.
Yeah. And she was suited up and ready to go with the Braves. They were out here this week, and we were out here or last week, and they were getting ready for the summer run. And so when I was out there with them, we had to go get Big Red and cowgirl up, and yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Love those times.
For sure.
So, LD, what a career. You're a legend. 9-time world champion in the WPRA, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All around, breakaway, heading and heeling.
Yep.
Every roping event you've won. That's fascinating. 3 times for the National Finals breakaway.
Yes, sir.
As well, you've qualified for. And then also the National Cowgirl Hall of Fame and the Texas Cowboy Hall of Fame. So everybody's recognized what a legend you are. That's awesome.
Well, that was one of the biggest accomplishments that I had ever had, is to get that call that I was going to get inducted to the Hall of Fames. I said I did at first. I kind of giggled and I said that just means you're getting old, but I said just being recognized like that, it's quite a honor and a blessing.
Well, it's very deserved.
Thanks.
You know, as much as you've won, as much as you've been out here, as much as you've done for the industry, for all the ropers and the trail that you have blazed and the girls before you. And so it's very well deserved.
Thank you for that.
What I think is also great about the fact that you're recognized for that, but you're also, like I said, it's not that you're old, it's the fact that you've been recognized for it, but you're not done.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I think is great is, you know, you've already have all those accomplishments, but you're still taking it to them. So just like your win at Clovis, that was a big win the other day, in my opinion.
It was. And I said it was great. You know, I got the opportunity to go to California with your family and Hope, and, you know, just to be out there. And I had a lot of things happen at my house, you know, in the last, year or so. And then to be able to go to California and get away and, rope at those great rodeos out there. I said it was awesome. You know, I went to Logandale on our way and did well there and did well at Red Bluff, and then finished up at Clovis and come home. So it was great.
So Clovis, in my opinion, is a cowgirl setup.
Yes, it is.
You know, it's stuck out there. Calves are all there. And so tell everyone a little bit about Clovis. How many head was it? What was the start like? What were the calves like?
You know, they're just big yearlings that they bring in there, and they're all fresh. And, I don't even like to touch them, in the chute. I just like to let them walk out. I think it's 25-foot start there maybe. And that arena's really big, and, just let them out the first time, and a lot of them walk, and you just have to score them out and then go get them. And by the third run on them, you're rolling. Like, you got to go past your rope a little bit and go get them knocked down. And it's one of my favorite rodeos to go to. And I mean, the fans are great. I mean, I have lots of friends in California, and it's funny how many people in California love rodeo. I mean, they pack it out there.
What it was 4 head, wasn't it?
Yes.
So two in slack, then a
No,
progressive.
ours is only 3. We run.
Oh, it's only 3.
Well,
Okay.
you run. You're right. You run one. You run one, and then you come right back and run your second one.
In slack.
Yeah.
And then do you make that's
Perf.
for perf there,
And
so that's
then-
your third round,
Yep,
and then the
and
short round on Sunday.
And they'll bring you back. They told us they were going to bring us back fresh ones, and they ended up bringing the third run back. So you ran 3 or a third run on your third calf and your fourth calf.
Okay. And so what, when you backed in there, now how many did they take? Because I watched it on the Cowboy Channel. Do they only take 8 girls now?
Yes.
Is that a new rule this past? Because
that's
or is
what-
that just Clovis?
Well,
Because every short round I remember was always 12 head.
yeah, but
Or
the girls,
12 people come back to short round.
the girls have always been lower. I mean, it's
Really?
been 8 or 9. Is it 8? I think
I thought
it's,
it was 8.
Yeah, I think
there,
it's 8.
if I remembered right.
Yeah, they don't bring back 12.
12. Got it. So your high girl back, your
Yeah.
last girl to go. What did you have to be, if you can remember? What was your time that you had to be, and what was your game plan going into that last run?
Well, my game plan was just to, just make sure I saw the start and go catch the calf. Like either way, if you get out from behind the start and catch the calf, they're going to pay you the money. And, it wasn't, I wanted to rope him as fast as I could, but I wanted to make sure that I, got out from behind the barrier. And it was just, my game plan's usually always the same. It's just the process. I mean, I just do what I've always trained to do. And I knew what my start was, see my start and go rope the calf.
In situations like that, it seems like you literally go back to what you teach,
Yes.
because that's exactly what you teach, is to run that barrier where you're trying to get to your shot set up to where you're not going to miss.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you did in that when
Yes.
we all watched it.
Yeah. Because you don't second guess, and you don't take a dumb shot. You just go do what you've, trained to do for all those years.
In team roping, it's one of those things when I'm teaching is to try to structure the kids that are coming up. They're all watching the Cowboy Channel, watching Driggers and all those guys, and they're skipping so many steps by watching it because they're like number 3s and number 4s. And you're like, look, if you'll learn the process, if you can learn how to get your start, get your swing up at a certain spot, get your horse rated off, and know you're going to catch before you throw, you're going to need that when you get to that level also.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
There's going to be times you're going to need to make sure that you stop the clock and you make a clean run, especially in these tournament styles or in the situation you were in at Clovis for one of the most prestigious rodeos in the world. I mean, it come right down to exactly what you teach.
Yeah, because, you got to have a great foundation. I mean, it doesn't matter. You have to have a great foundation and great basics. And if you stick to the basics and in those kind of situations, you usually come out, ahead.
So Clovis was a little bit bittersweet in the fact of it was a great win for you, but your little traveling buddy kind of took a fart knocker right there. Was it the second
Man.
round?
Yeah, she won the first round.
Won the first round, but the second round.
And, I don't know how many people saw it, but we had an electric eye. We didn't have even a neck rope on the calf, but it was just the barrier that was in front of her horse. And when her horse left, the barrier hung in her horse's bit. And man, it spun the horse around. And fortunately, it didn't hurt him, but it just shot her out there. And she landed on her right shoulder, of course.
So I didn't set this question up very good. Hope Thompson.
Yep.
So everyone knows. And I remember Jacqueline sent it to me on my text message, and I'm about to drop my phone. It was horrible.
I didn't
Not
even
really
get to
anything
see
I
it.
really want anybody to really watch. Honestly, it was ugly. It was
Yeah,
ugly.
I mean, I was at the other end because we were buddied, and I was at the other end getting my rope, and I kept kind of looking back, and all I saw when it happened, I saw her hit the ground, and I saw her head bounce, and then I said, literally, I saw her legs kind of shake, and then her head went just like limp, and people don't know how long Clovis is, but it's a long ways. And I said, I felt like a goat tire in the junior rodeos. I was running my horse back as fast as I could to her because I thought it was really bad. And I got to her and I didn't even know what happened. Like, how did it happen? And they showed me the video and I was literally like you. I watched it one time. I said, I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see it. But she broke her humerus in 3 places. But went to the doctor actually today, and the bone is healed. Now it's up to strengthening, the rotator cuff, the muscles, and getting her range of motion back, and hopefully she'll be back soon.
Because y'all just came back from the doctor today and just got the report, correct?
Yes, Dr. Tandy.
Yeah. So when I was watching it, I was wondering if anything that was controversial in it, and it didn't look like it. It looked like it was a freak thing.
Accident.
Where the horse was a little bit low and hit the barrier that pulls across their chest, and it was just enough that it was just the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless it's an electric guy, that's about the safest.
Yeah, you could do it.
Route. Yeah. There was a lot of wrecks last year that I was watching people sending me. A lot of it was with the neck rope.
Yeah.
That was the first time I'd seen one that bad with the barrier that pulled across the horse's chest. That one was a bad one.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing about that electric eye, I mean, it makes things, I mean, I feel like fair, like you don't get fouled by the neck rope. And another thing at Clovis, people can't push the calves, so you don't have any kind of, interference, there. I mean, it's just, it's as fair as it can go. I mean, the time starts just like an electric eye in the barrel race. So,
It is something that I really feel like does need a little bit of a look at, because it's the amount of wrecks that I had seen the last couple of years since y'all were out there rodeoing. It was hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's the last thing we want to do is see anyone get hurt.
For sure.
Breakaway. But no, we were all sitting there in the tack room. We was cleaning the tack room that day and watching you run, and it was awesome. Rex looked awesome, your breakaway horse. How old is that horse, and what's he bred like?
He come off the Babcock Ranch, and I really don't even know what's on his papers. I bought him from Jay Connor, and I bought him when he was probably 14 or 15. I think he's 19 now. And he was just, he was what I needed at the time. I'd crippled my good horse, and I didn't have anything. And Jade was coming to the high school finals, and they stayed at my house during that time. And he brought that horse and let me ride him, and then let me haul him around and ride him in a couple places to, make sure he would work. And I mean, he was a blessing at that time for sure. So he's just gotten better and better, and I'm thankful to have him. I mean, he's a cool horse. He's got a lot of quirks, but I said usually all the good ones do,
Especially the ones that last.
Yeah.
Because how old is he?
He's 19, and I've never injected him one time.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a warrior.
Yeah, he is. I mean, I saddle him. He's like the first one to saddle. He's real cinchy. You have to untie him, and he'll set back. Like he's got, kind of things about him. But if you treat him right and know how to handle him, he's no trouble.
It is funny how a lot of those horses tend to be rodeo type horses.
Yeah.
Because they've got to be tough.
Yep.
To be able to sit in that trailer as long as they do, especially this time of year in the heat.
Oh, I know.
The miles and everything, the mud and all that stuff. They've got to have a little bit of that outlaw in him, I think, to be able to last.
Yeah, and he's funny because, I mean, you can haul him. Last year we had to go all-night drive to Baker, Montana from Caldwell, and he unloads pretty slow, and you can get him out and water him, and he's first one. I mean, he cannot wait to just get right back on there, and I'm like, man, we just drove you about 9 hours before we even took you off to give you a breather to go 4 or 5 more, and here you are, just can't wait to get back on there. But, yeah, I'd call him a warrior. Yeah, he does.
Crazy. He loves as much as you do.
That's right.
What all horses do you have? Because you've been known for incredible horses. You're an incredible horsewoman. And so what all horses do you have right now, heading and breakaway?
I have Rex is, he's the black you're just talking about that I ride everywhere. There's a black mare we call Ink that Hope rode a lot, and she more or less did all the training on her. She was a little bronky for a short period of time, so she rode her a lot, early on, and then I've started riding her later, and I had heel and rope calves on her, and I'm going to probably take her out there this summer. And I just bought a roan I think he's 6 this year that I got from Billy Bob Brown.
I like that one.
Yeah, I do too.
I really like that one.
And I've been heading on him, and he's cool, to rope calves on or head on. He's going to be really good in the heading as well.
I watched Jackie ride him at Redmond, and his foot speed looks real fast, but he's still flat.
Yeah. And
it's
all
like
three of it, he's one of those that Samantha Fulton rode him the night before. We flew in, me, Hope, and Jackie all jumped on him and rode him. He's the same every time. He's young. He's kind of a gamer. I mean, like, you can just leave him off and he gets so fresh acting, but when he backs in there, he's game on. Like, he's a really cool horse. And the one that got hung with Hope at Clovis, we call him Dreamer. We bought him from Blake Deckard, and he's a great horse. I rode him a lot last summer. I think he's 7 this year, maybe. And I mean, I've got Greed. His name was American Greed. Trevor showed him at the fraternities, and I had heel and rope calves on him.
I love him.
Yeah, he's a great horse.
Now, what's he bred like?
He's Starlight Gypsy and Doc's Oak mare.
Doc's Oak.
Yeah, I love him. Like he's probably my favorite horse I've ever had.
Because he had some stats as well coming up there through the rope horse fraternity as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he
Trevor was riding him at the time, right?
yes, he won a lot on that horse.
Now, did you start him? Trevor start him? Were you guys partnering on him?
No, he's always been mine. I had him and was going to leave. That was kind of when Breakaway was getting started back 2020, like where
Right.
we were going to get to go, or 2019 maybe is when that was. But anyway, I just called him and I said, man, I got a great horse. I said, I think you can win every fraternity you go to if you will take him, because he's just going to sit there. And sure enough, if he caught him, didn't break out, healer didn't mess up, they
won it.
They won it. I mean, he's a really cool horse. He tries hard every time.
Wasn't he high? He was winning it going into that last one, if I remembered right, wasn't it?
That was at Fort Worth.
Fort Worth at the biggest one at the end of the year. He was right there with him at the end of the year. I can't remember what happened, but
He does.
yeah, I just couldn't remember what the heck happened.
No, he missed in the short round.
Yeah, but he was right there. It was one of those things. He was set up to be the horse of the year that year.
Yeah.
And just a freak thing to happen.
Yeah. No, he's a cool horse, and Trevor did such great things with him, which he does with all of them. But he won a lot of money on that horse out there.
So, as for everyone knows too, is that you've had a relationship for a long time with Trevor. How did that start, and what all have you guys done together? Is a lot of it? I mean, you guys have a great relationship personally. You've been friends for a long time, but also the horses and the partnerships and stuff that you guys do. What all do you guys, and how long, I guess, have you guys been doing that?
I think he was probably maybe 9, 10, 11 years old, and we junior rodeoed together, and he would always come. I'd look up and my horse would be gone, and all I had to do was find Trevor, because he was probably riding him and sliding him and spinning him around or something, or had my rope off swinging it. You know, he was just always around, because he always liked my horses, always liked my stuff. And then we just got to be really good friends. And, you know, his mom and dad were good friends with mine, and we were just been family friends forever. And then he moved down there and lived at Anson right there by the house. And we partnered on all kinds of horses. I partnered on tripping horses, heel horses, head horses, calf horses. We partnered on colts. We've just done whatever. I mean, our partnership is just on the honor system. We never kept records, books. I mean, I'm like, well, you had him about 2 or 3 months, and I had him. You know, it's just that's just how we always did things, and we've been successful. I mean, he he had someone he could always send his horses home to, or had someone at home that would take care of them, for him when he was out there on the road, because I would ride him and help him and do all that. And I said, now, times have changed. Now I'm gone all the time. And thankfully Miles come along, and he's got, somebody to be, move on with what we started doing as, say, kids. And now he's, made it into a, like almost an empire. Yeah.
Yeah. His and Miles' relationship looks awesome too. I was over there yesterday. I went over there and rode with Miles for a little bit and got to catch up with Trevor, because he's coming off shoulder surgery, and just went to his first event, I think, there in Oklahoma City, and he's talking about kind of how the shoulder felt and stuff. But yeah, they're producing some great horses over there. It's been fun to watch.
Yes.
So what do you feel like is what's your favorite Trevor story? Because I go to clinics and I talk about how funny Trevor is and how sharp-witted he is. And he doesn't let that out much. As you were to do an interview, especially, it seems how, like, most interviews are only 5 seconds long after you win a open or a rodeo, or 10 seconds long. They're always short. Would that run feel like, oh, it felt great, I won it, more to get, But a lot of people don't realize, like, how funny that guy is.
No, he's, people are, it took me a long time to, like, notice how people looked at him, because I never saw him like that. And then, I would be sitting in the stands or whatever at the NFR, and I would like look around and see what he has done and what people are looking at him. And I'm like, he's unbelievable. Like, but he's just Trevor to me. I mean, most of the stories I can't even tell, with him, but he's the greatest cowboy in my opinion, on our end of the arena that has ever lived. I mean, I love just watching, from his back. I remember telling him when he was a kid, he was going to start heading, at the rodeos. Like, that's what he was going to do. He's going to quit heeling. He made the finals heeling, and he's going to start heading. And I'm like, you can't head. Like, why are you heading? Like, you need to heel. Like, what are you doing? Well, then he wins the world heading, and he's like, I thought I couldn't head. And I'm like, well, never mind on that, But he, anyway, talking about his heading, he was at the BFI, and we would always fly in for the girl roping, because we didn't have anything else to go to Reno for except that all-girl team roping. So anyway, I fly in, and I get to Reno, and he's over there playing with Tristan. He was little. I mean, they're just, over there and having the best time. And I'm like, I couldn't see what happened. Like, what'd you do? And he's like, I fell off. I said, what? And he's like, yeah, I fell off at the BFI. And I'm like, you did not fall off. And he's like, oh yeah, I fell off. And I did not believe him. I had to watch the film, but it was so cool to see a guy like that. Like, he wasn't mad. He wasn't upset. He literally was laughing that he fell off at one of the most prestigious team ropings that had ever been. And his horse went one way, the steer went the other, and he fell off at the end of the ring at the BFI. So that's just how he is, but he was just fine with it,
I've never seen anybody that has as much calm and cool as he is.
Oh no. It is.
And he
crazy.
may be a duck, he might be paddling under the water on the inside, but boy, on the outside, you'd never guess it, because he always finds a way to laugh, and I've never seen anybody like him. Never seen anybody like it.
No, he's literally when people say you got ice water in your veins, that's the guy that does.
Yeah. One of my funnier stories on him was I hardly ever opened my mouth around him, because I kind of grew up in the fact of like, man, if I could just be quiet, then everyone had to guess on how dumb I am. If I open my mouth, everyone's going to know, and stuff. So that was one guy you didn't want to leak off anything the wrong way, because he was so witty.
Man.
He could just get you. So I always stayed friends with him from a distance. And so that way I never could get got, because anyone who would open his mouth around him, like, he would just tee him up. He would eat him up and swallow him. And it was the funniest thing ever how he would do it. But he got me at Guyman one time, and I didn't even think I even had anything coming, but sure enough, he got me. I remember, because I got there early at Guyman. It was a short round, and the rodeo was on Sunday afternoon. They start with bareback riding first, and they team rope second. So we get there early enough, and I come back, I think, a second high call. He was 8th high call. And the only reason I kept him on my monitor, because he got in with a leg. It was a fast leg, but he came with a leg. So I knew after 8th place, I had to start kind of keeping track of where I was, because a lot of times the announcers don't always let you know what you got to be in the short round to make sure you stay in the money. So anyways, I'm out warming up in the background, or there in the back behind the all the rigs and stuff. And I come walking back. Well, I'm walking back behind the hill. So the hill's between where the trailers are at in the arena. So I can't see the arena. So I'm walking back, and I'm almost around the other side, back side of that hill. I still can't, everyone knows I can't hear very well anyway, but I couldn't hear what they were on or anything like that. And Trevor sees me, and he comes walking towards me, and he's on his horse, got his cowboy hat on, got his hat and his rope in his hand, walks up to his rig, throws his rope down, throws his hat back. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Just popped it off. It's like I got the best one. I just popped it off. And I'm like, well, if he's 8th and he missed, and he had this time to walk all the way back to the trailer, and I'm like, is he kidding? Is he not kidding? So there's a lot of things going on in my head. Like, do I be proud? Do I not let him get me? Or do I have a chance to get turned out? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, my pride, I swallow my pride. I'm like, all right, I start trotting. Then I start loping. Then all of a sudden I hear this, that laugh that he has. And I'm like, I turn around, he goes, I ain't roped yet. And then right about that time, I clear the back side of that hill, and they're still riding bareback horses. I'm like, gosh, dang it. I didn't even see that one coming, but that was him all the time.
For sure.
Yeah, I'd never seen anybody have more fun with the process than that guy ever.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he does. And he just knows and sticks to his plan, and it's just unbelievable to watch. I mean, I've seen him, behind the scenes a little bit, but I mean, it's there's no one like him. I still ain't never seen anyone like him.
I think you and him have had probably some of the best horses. I've got to ride almost all of his head horses, and every one of them had a unique, just phenomenal athlete feel to him. And every event, he had the same thing with the deputy and the calf rope, and had some of the best steer open horses. I remember Doofus that he made the finals heeling on, and then turned him into one of the best calf horses ever. Just an amazing, amazing horseman. But you as well, you've had some unbelievable breakaway horses.
Yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate, and I said he's a big part of it, because our head horses. Well, you rode Saint, or they called him Dirty Harry. He was one that, that he would ride. I would ride him a little while, and then Trevor would take them and fine tune them, and then they just made great horses. Tombstone sold him to Jake Cooper, and I mean, I could go through a lot of them, and even the heel horses. I mean, I would have a heel horse, the one that Patrick rides right now. We'd been riding that horse for the Gongs, Cookie Benuelos, and he would try to hump up and buck. He was just a young horse, and I told Trevor, I said, "Man, this is a pretty cool horse. I usually make Hope ride him because he's a little humpy or whatever." And, Trevor come and rode him and heeled on him, and Hope had been, roping calves on him and heeling on him and stuff. And Trevor come and rode him. He's like, "Man, Patrick will buy this horse." And I said, "Are you sure? I mean, that's your partner, And he's like, "No, he's going to love him." And sure enough, I mean, look what Patrick's done with that horse. But Trevor's, he's just been one of those that, from the calf horses, the head horses, the heel horses, like he would just know like who they would fit, what they would be, what to do with them. I mean, like I said, we had tripping horses. I mean, it was just crazy. Like I would find one. He's like, "Man, this is going to be a good tripping horse." I said, "Well, let's trip on it." I didn't trip, but he did, but he's just, he's a big part of my success with, training the horses and stuff.
What do you think's the best horse you've ever owned?
I love Greed. I do. I mean, Greed, head, heel, or rope calves, he's great at all of it. And my favorite breakaway horse that I ever had was a horse called Gangster. He just didn't last long enough. He got crippled, but he had the feel that I look for. And,
what was that?
Just he stood flat-footed and never moved in the box. But when he went, like you could throttle or he would go so fast. And he would run all the way to the calf. He was so cowy. He was mad at him. Like when we were working cattle on him at the ranch when he was a young horse, I had him just my split reins laid around the saddle horn, and we were working some calves. And I look over there, and he's got one by the back, a calf by the back, just shaking it. Like he didn't like them. So he wanted to get to him so fast, and he would just pin his ears and run so fast to the calf. Like he was, he scored and ran, and then as soon as you roped the calf, he would kill the rope. He would never get tight, but he would kill the rope so fast. And
just break it off so fast.
Yeah, he was just unbelievable. Like he was just that feel, and he just didn't last long. And Jackie, Hope, and I, we won, I think, first, second, and third on him at San Juan Capistrano, one of the last times that I ever got to ride him. And he had come back, and
what happened to him?
Well, when he was young, he broke his pelvis, and he come back from that, and that's when he got really good. But he tore his deep flexor tendon twice, and he come back the first time pretty good, but the second time he just never, could come back. But he's in the pasture. He does good and fat and happy and all that. But that's the horse that I look for, and I just never found him. But they always say you usually only have one in your lifetime, and I guess that was him.
He reminded me of that grit that Deputy had.
Yeah.
I know they're the same color, and I can't remember exactly kind of what they looked like together, but I remember they just kind of had that same confidence.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah. There was a lady that was on Facebook, and she Shelby Lovejoy. She wanted to know what do you look for in, like, say, a breakaway prospect?
I want them fast-footed, good-minded, but it's kind of hard about that. When you're talking about good-minded, you kind of almost have to ride them and see how they handle pressure, I guess you would say, or if they've been through a program that had, given them some pressure. But you look for good-minded, fast-footed, I want them to really be able to run. And like that horse, I want them to be able to dang sure stop. And I like them to really be on their butt and their head up, because I like to be able to carry my rope a long ways, and then I don't want their front end to ever stop. I want it to stay, paddling, or front end stay up, where their butt can come under them. But it's, size-wise, I like short neck, hocks under them. Just, I'm not going to say low-headed. That's like I said, I like them built up. I don't want them high-headed, but I want them short-necked and, kind of up in the front and butt under them.
That the breakaway does seem tough, between when you rope and their front feet stay moving, or when you rope and their front feet punch.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, because it sometimes seems, just in a little bit that I've watched, is some of those punchy ones do pop that rope.
Yeah.
But it's hard to stay consistent with it.
Well, when you're 53 with 2 back surgeries, it just doesn't work out very good.
I understand that. I totally understand that
Yeah.
one. Yeah, I totally understand that one. So this winter was kind of a roller coaster of emotions, wasn't it? You've had some surgeries.
Yeah.
When did the surgeries happen? What all did you get operated on?
Well, last year, or year before last, I guess I hurt my shoulder, and I made it through the NFR. And as soon as I got done at the NFR, I went and had my shoulder operated on. And then as soon as I came back from that, I was going to be ready actually this week for, Weatherford and, Cleburne and Coleman, all those rodeos. And I got to go to them. And I'd gotten a call while I was at Claremore over Memorial Day, and I'd had a bad colonoscopy come back. And I said, okay, so we'll just take care of that next December, or this, the December coming up. And they're like, no, like this next week. And I'm like, no, I just come off of, I've been out 5 months. I mean, almost 6 months with my shoulder surgery. I was like, I'm not ready for that. But anyway, long story short, I needed it done. It was a cancerous polyp that I had, and they took out part of my colon. So it put me out another 6 weeks, and I got to come back at Calgary. And that was right there, around the 4th, right after the 4th. I got to come back and do that. And it was kind of a blessing, because during all that time, I got to spend a lot of time with my mom and learned that she got sick. She had gotten diagnosed. I mean, not at that time. We just knew there was something going on, and I wouldn't have known if I'd have left for the summer in the middle of June. And I got to be home and be around her, and I knew something was wrong. And then they diagnosed her with lung cancer, small cell lung cancer, and she ended up passing away this December, or January. Actually, it was right there during Fort Worth, and that was her favorite rodeo, so I went. And then y'all took me over there, you and your family.
When was it that it was pretty? You're trying to find the right word, but you could feel God's presence, and you could feel Mary's presence.
Oh yeah.
When you roped that one night.
Oh, I know. It was.
What was that when she passed, or was that the funeral? I couldn't remember. It was right there that
she had passed away, and it was like the day after, or 2 days after she had passed away, that I was up at Fort Worth, and a really good family friends of mine, the Longs, had lost their mother at the NFR in December, and it was a sudden heart attack and all that. And their family, she married Martin Richter, and they have like a box right there at Fort Worth. And when I roped my calf, I did really good. And I mean, like, I shouldn't have gotten out. I said, thanks, Mom, because I mean, the calf kind of turned, whatever. And I mean, I pinged the start and like get it on him right there, and I'm winning, and it just all worked. And it's like you said, it was like, thanks, Mom. And I was riding down the arena, and that whole family were there that night. The Longs and the Richters, they were all there, and they were in that box, and they were all hollering, and it was like a great night.
Yeah.
And I knew that was a reason that I was there.
It's almost a eulogy just in your performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we went to the funeral, I can't remember how many days later.
We had it, just like a week. I mean, we waited through, that weekend, and then got it all scheduled. We knew it was going to be really big. My mom touched a lot of people and raised a lot of kids. I mean, Jackie,
huge.
and, you know, she'd been there. Well, she lived there 10 years. Hope's been there a little longer than that. We've had even, you know, Kathleen. There were so many that have been there, and I knew it was going to be big. So we did it at the Expo Center at Abilene. And, so we had to kind of get all that set up, and it was pretty cool.
Who was the two pastors there?
Carter Edmondson and Cody Cochran.
That was the best celebration of life that I've ever seen.
You know, I'm not just saying it because it was my mom, but I've never seen anything like it.
Me neither.
It was.
And I haven't been to very many funerals. You know, sometimes cowboys are a lot like race car drivers. You don't almost want to kind of go to the places you don't want to see yourself at, you know, and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was always kind of me. So it's not like I had seen very many funerals, but every one that I've been to was just so sad.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, it was still sad in the fact that you're losing a family member and one of the greatest people. But the way they did it was, I think, how God was meant for it to be, where you celebrated their life, you celebrated what they stood for and what they did on this earth, and the fact that now that you know, she's in a good place.
Oh yeah, and both of those boys. I mean, Cody and I was actually the best man in his wedding, you know, and he and I were literally raised together. And Carter and his family, you know, we grew up together. Carter and I are the same age, and his sister and I lived together in college. Like we were all family friends, and they knew her, and you could tell
you could tell they knew her.
They knew her, and it was great.
It was special.
It was.
And the way they did it, I told Jackie, I said, we got to find those two if I die, because that's exactly. I mean, we don't need flowers at my funeral. Let's just get real here. You know, you wouldn't want to tap a keg and throw some things out back, throw some sawdust on the floor, you know. But that was it. That I've never seen. It was a great experience of that, because I think that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to celebrate the life, and it was totally cool too. In the fact of, I've never seen so many flatbed trucks and, you know, round bells on the back of the rigs on the way there. I mean, that's what I love about Abilene, is it's a cowboy culture town. I love that town. And you need to see it when you're at that funeral.
Oh yeah, I mean, and there was all walks of life there. I kind of laughed with my dad. He's 81 this year, and we're driving up. He's like, "What the heck's going on over there besides Mary's funeral?" And I'm like, "Dad, all those people are here for her." He's like, "No, there's no way all those people." He's like, "There's some kind of event or something." He's, "Look at all them," just like what you were saying, them ranch trucks and all that. And I said, "Well, there's all kinds of trucks there." And I said, "There's 3 airplanes across the road over there that flew in for it too, but they're all here for your wife's funeral."
There's both ends.
Yeah.
There's the guy that are day working and the guy that owned the ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was special. It really was. What was Abilene like growing up? You know, ranching and being out there, and just from Jackie talking about it, was such a metropolis out there, because it was so cool in the fact that there were no neighbors.
Right.
You got to ranch. You were just in wide open country, but yet you're still close enough to go do anything you wanted to go do within 10, 15 minutes.
You know, we live between, I went to school in a little place called Clyde. It's right off the interstate on the way into Abilene. You know, it's probably 3,500 people. That's where I went to school. And then that's 10 minutes away. And then 10 minutes the other way is Abilene, 125 people, major universities. It's, you know, a big Bible Belt town, but has everything that you would ever want. But you feel like you're in a big enough city that's safe.
Yeah. Like
you feel that way. And then you go the other direction 20 miles and you're in Albany, and you feel like you're in the Wild West. I mean, literally, there's a restaurant they changed it to Good Nights now, but it was called the Beehive. And the bar that was in there, like not like the bar itself, but the bar that you serve off of, was literally in a dentist office that Doc Holliday ran at Fort Griffin. And you walk in there, and there's hats, people with their boots, you know, their pants tucked in their boots, big spurs, like it's all ranching country that direction. I mean, it's all ranches. And it's just kind of a cool area that I live in, because, you know, we do have neighbors, but our neighbors are a mile away at least, you know, and, you know, our ranch is around 10,000 acres. And so if you get in the middle of the ranch, you're a long ways from people, you know, and it's just pretty cool that I was just so blessed. That was my mom's, you know, like my mom, her dad he was a oil man in Abilene, and he adopted 2 girls, and it was my Aunt Margaret and my mom, and bought these 2 ranches, and Margaret ended up with one ranch, and Mom ended up with the other. And when she married my dad, he worked for my granddad, and she ended up marrying my dad. And between them two, she had it. He kept it together and has blessed us. And
so that's where her caretaking came from. Then.
Yeah.
It's her dad.
Yep. He was 50-something years old, and his wife was in a wheelchair, but he wanted kids, and he adopted 2 girls, and they neither one. Well, I think Margaret found out where her mom and dad were, but my mom never found out. She said, I had everything I wanted right here.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So what all was, growing up out there on the ranch, what was it like out there? What were all the things you guys got to do growing up?
Everything that everybody should do now.
You and Tommy should, I bet, had to have some interesting roping sessions and stuff. But the wide open country that you guys had out there for kids is, nowadays that's almost like
it's unheard of.
Yeah, it's unheard of.
We got locked out of the house. It was like, and it's kind of funny. At 5 years old, it was like, don't come back. You go out there, you can go fish. You go hunt, go shoot your pellet gun. Drive your dune buggy.
Watch out for rattlesnakes.
Watch out for rattlesnakes. We all had to watch out for rattlesnakes. We learned about that at a really, early age because they're everywhere out there. And, but saddle your horse. My mom took a video of me years and years ago of me getting on a bucket and the wind blows in Abilene, I'd put my saddle blanket on. I'd reach down to get my saddle pad blow off. She filmed me for probably 2 hours trying to get my horse saddled when I was about 4 or 5 years old, just. It was just the coolest thing because we learned how to do things. Like you just got to go. You didn't have, the TV we had. You should probably know, but you had 3 channels, rabbit ears. And you had to adjust the rabbit ears, and you had, to turn the little dial to get you. Well, we actually had 2 channels, and finally we got 3. But it was you didn't stay in the house much. You went outside and did things.
You lived,
and you worked cattle and. We didn't have 4-wheelers and all that. You'd hire, anywhere from 10 to 20 cowboys, depending on what track, like what pasture you were working. And everybody would haul their horses out there and brisk mornings, and they'd gird them up, and somebody's horse always bucked. And then when their horse bucked, usually someone else's did. And then, you'd always have a really good old cowboy that would ride with the kids, and they'd let us jerk a rope down, turn one back, and we'd get to go rope them in the pasture. And it was just, it was the coolest life that I wish every little kid could live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. What all was the industries was your ranch involved with?
You mean like what we have
so
there?
You had cattle, like you had other things besides just ranching as well.
Well, we have oil wells. And, it's like I said, that's what my granddad was. And my dad has kept that going and, tried to keep the production and stuff out there. And now we have wind turbines. It's evolved a lot, and I'm just grateful for my dad for what he did to keep it running, because my mom, I guess you would say, grew up as a rich kid, but she didn't require much when she got older. It was kind of funny that she gave, she never took, but then. You
could see that in everyone's words of her.
Oh, yeah.
At the funeral.
Yeah. She, buys everything for everybody else and gives. I was actually talking to Hope on the way back. She said, you remember when I broke my leg and it took like 8 or 9 days before they would fix it because of insurance. And my mom shows up down there and she says, I don't care what it costs. You get the leg fixed. And Hope's like, well, I can't. She said, well, I can. So, that's just how she was. She wouldn't have done that for herself, but, for anybody else, it's like, you do it. But she grew up as a rich kid, and had the property, but had, really not the means of knowing how to take care of it. My dad grew up as a poor kid that worked for my granddad and learned how to work and how to get by and how to live on nothing. Like my dad knew how to live on nothing. And for a long time, they had put it in a trust, and they'd taken all of everything more or less that we had. It was a bad situation, and we ended up settling out of court for like $100,000. My dad had to buy back really half of the land and had to make it all work. And for many years, we struggled. I didn't know that. I mean, they never let us know that. But my dad worked really hard to gain the ranch back and not lose it. My aunt ended up losing hers. And my dad worked really hard to gain it all back. And he made it where it is now. We run 600 or 700 head of cattle. We got wind turbines on it. We got oil production. And that's all because my dad figured it out,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you watch a lot of those ranches and stuff. I mean, just like watching Yellowstone, I mean, it's a little bit Hollywooded up in the same sense. It's still real.
Oh, yeah.
To hold a ranch together and generations and all that stuff and all the politics that are involved and, all the things that could happen as well and cattle. And yeah, it's definitely, and I just know very little about it, but I know enough to know that because you see so many of them fail.
Yeah.
That it's definitely a thing.
Yeah, and I mean, the inheritance on it and stuff, it's just crazy. And that's what we go through right now, making sure that everything is going to be good, even for my brother's, kids, and just making sure everything stays together and stays in the family.
It's amazing the conversations you have to consistently have with a lawyer.
Oh, every day.
Because you got to stay up, and accountants.
Yes.
Because you got to know what's evolving.
Yeah, and what's changed. I mean, it'll just change on you. It's crazy that I don't know. I've told you the last few times I've been down here, like, where are you going? I'm going to go meet with the accountants or lawyer or something. It's like you do it all the time.
Yeah. What? So summer's coming up. How's the entries going? You guys are back. You're back to rolling again. Everything roping good. What? How's the entries going? How's the summer looking as far as how you're getting up and all that?
Well,
the
we're
4th of July is on its way.
Yeah, we're entering over the 4th right now. None of our cards are hitting well. We're gonna, the way I think about that is you can only do what you can do, and there's a reason that they're not hitting. I mean, maybe we're not supposed to be there, or maybe we're supposed to be there on a different night. I'm just one of those that I just know everything works out the way it's supposed to, and I know that we'll get it all figured out. But I go with your wife and the kids and Cheyenne and Hope, and I have a good friend of mine that's from Australia named Abby Smith that's going to help us. And we're very blessed and fortunate. Jackie's got a bus. I have a bus, and we're going to just probably have to split them up a little bit and send one out and then come back and get in another one and go somewhere else. But, we have great sponsors that help us, and we're just, it'll all work out, and we're just grateful to be able to do what we're able to do. And, being older, it was kind of funny talking about Trevor, as he told me, he said, if you're going to rodeo, you're going to need a bus. I'm like, I'm not going to get any bus. I'm not doing that. I got a trailer. I can do whatever. And about 2 years later, I said, I got me one of those buses, because they just save your life out there, and having that and being able to go in those. And what I like about rodeoing the most, I'm not a big, I hate to leave home. I hate leaving home, but having a bus and having family with you, or people that we call our family, with you and being out there, it makes it all worth it. And it makes it where you feel like you're home, and you can cook and hang out and visit, and you can be driving down the road and sit at the table and actually have a meal with each other. It's just, it makes it pretty easy to go out there and enjoy it.
Well, for Jackie, it makes me feel safer too, because that's one of the hardest things for me out there. While y'all are out there, is I can't be everywhere. Right. And, I still enjoy working. There's no way I could ever be out there. There's no way. I mean, I like driving, but I couldn't stand the downtime. And I know this is Jackie's turn. I've already had my turn. And so I love to be able to see and support everything that she has going on. But I like still being able to have my goals and my dreams and stuff as being able to do what I enjoy doing. But just the fact you have a bus in order to keep your kids in the rig.
Yes.
Where you're not always having to stop you have big fuel tanks, so you can go a long ways.
Yeah.
The truck stops concern me, but at least they can stay in there and stay locked, and they don't have to stop at every rest area and go to the bathroom. That rig can just keep on moving, and so the safety factors for me help a lot with knowing that they can kind of stay in there until they get to their safe spot, which is the rodeo.
Yeah.
Or wherever you guys are staying at.
No,
overnight.
100%.
Because especially with girls out there too, that stuff's concerning. Them truck stops they can be very concerning in certain places.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. I worry about that stuff, or look around for that stuff as well.
Another thing is too, it's hard to eat right.
Yes.
And so at least having something that you can at least somewhat keep your game on a little bit out there, because you are what you eat. And man, if a guy's out there eating at them truck stops all the time, it's hard to keep your focus and your motivation on that road.
Well, I taught Hope and Jackie how to eat good. So we usually win, lose, or draw, we're going to eat good.
I remembered that because when I first started dating, I told Jackie, you're expensive for just a guy who team ropes for a living. Yeah. And we always had to go to all these places, and it just made me have to try harder. But yeah, it's a thing. But so as we talked about the craving this rodeo and loving what you're doing, and as it's evolving and it's harder and harder to leave home, what do you feel like motivates you? What do you feel like is a thing that keeps you driven going this much?
Honestly, I said it kind of sounds funny, but I love to win. I love to win, but I'm not a real competitive person, if that makes sense. I want all my friends to win. I want us all to win, not all get a trophy, but I want us all to do good. Mm-hmm. And, like what makes me want to go is getting out there and noticing how good the future generation has gotten and how good they're doing. I love to get out there and watch it, and I love to watch them rope and how much it's evolved. And being able to know that I was a small part of that, with the schools and helping all these young kids. I mean, I got to one perf one time when I was out there, and I think 8 of the 10 had been to a school, and it's like, man, that is so cool to see how it's all evolved and how it's moving. And I want to do it, and I want to see it get better, and I want to keep doing it until it gets better. I said rodeoing isn't something I love to do. I love to rope. I'm a roper. So rodeoing is kind of hard on me because you might rope one and then go a day and then rope one more. I mean, I'm used to roping 100 a day. I head them, heel them, rope calves all day long. I love to rope. I love to help people. And so, rodeoing, I like going out there and watching and doing and being a part of it, and wanna make it better and make it better for those kids. And it's just, the motivation is just really that. And I love winning. I mean, like when you go and you win, it makes you crave it. It makes you want more of it. I mean, I love to win. I mean, who doesn't? Yeah,
I hear you. So clinics is something you brought up too, and you've been almost everywhere.
Oh yeah, I
clinics.
love it.
How many? Like, where all have you been in the world? You're a world-renowned clinician as well.
Well, Australia several times, Sweden and Hawaii, so many places in the United States, and
what was Sweden like?
Beautiful, beautiful.
Do you have to have a translator?
No, they know several languages. They all speak English. That was one of the languages they have to learn. I mean, and they're really respectful over their people, and they won't talk Swedish behind your back, more or less. I mean, they try to talk English the whole time at the school, and it was great,
what
over
was
there.
The horses like? Do y'all rope calves? Were you allowed to rope calves? What were the horses like, and when did you get to rope?
We rope dummies.
Because
it's pretty socialistic. No, not allowed.
Not allowed to rope calves.
No, honestly, you're not even allowed to tie your horse to the fence. If you could saddle them, but you couldn't tie them up to the fence and leave them tied. Like
so a lot of law over there.
A lot of law over there.
Got it.
And everybody gets a turn. It was kind of funny. I had to learn, the culture a little bit in the sense of, if you messed up or did something, I'd say, here, run him again. Like, go again.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did that one time over there, and they kind of shut down the clinic. I mean, I was kind of waiting for the next person to go, and they're over there kind of talking amongst themselves, and I'm like, well, what's going on? And they more or less said, Charlie got an extra turn, and we didn't. I'm like, well, y'all all take a turn. But, I mean, I was trying to help him, but it's like they like everything, the same, and it was just a culture that you have to kind of, deal
Different.
with. Yeah, it was. It was different in ways like that, but beautiful country, very clean, very kind people, just great food. I mean, it was fun, and I mean, like it was a experience to be over there. I think Jackie got to go over there once or twice, and Australia, she got to go with me over there a couple times. You got to go to Australia.
Yep, went last year.
Yeah, but it's I enjoy it, and I love going to different places and and helping them. And just like I just got back from Hawaii, I guess I went maybe November. I think we went over there to Hawaii, and like people say people rope over there, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, on that little island of Kauai, there's like 5 arenas. There's probably not 50 people that rope on the island, but everybody had their own spot, and the horses are good, and cattle are fat. I mean, the grass is so high, and I mean, I have so many good friends over there. I mean, I just love going different places and helping, just like you do. I mean, you have them every week. From here on out, probably you got one scheduled, all summer.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the I still like to travel.
Yeah.
And I enjoy helping people. I enjoyed the fact that I was able to do something that I knew that helped a lot. I studied a lot of roping. I had to evolve a lot from when I first started to where it was at when I retired. And so I've enjoyed the process of being able to show people what I've been able to do and stay relevant for that long. And I've never got to go back east much.
Yeah, I hadn't
so
either.
That's what was really fun for me was, I could drive dang near anywhere on the west side without a map. But to go back east, that was new to me, and it was fun. Love Tennessee, love Georgia, probably my 2 favorite places that I've been back east, and some of the nicest people, the nicest culture, and yeah, I've enjoyed going and seeing places I never got to see.
I went to New York and did a few schools, and my dad asked me one time, he's like, where's the best horses that you've seen, this year at the schools? I'd do about 10 or 12 a year. And I said, New York. And he's like, New York? And I said, yeah, some of the best horses were in New York. I actually bought one a year or 2 ago and from a friend of mine up there. But I mean, it's just crazy, like the places that you'll go and the horses that you see and the ropers that people don't even think, but they'll think of New York as New York City. They don't think of it as, beautiful country and good horses and all that kind of stuff.
And also that too is like they would talk about, I went and did a clinic up there with Jimmy and Gina Madden and over there in New York last year. And they took me to New York to the airport and stuff. And everyone had talked about like our crime is there, but it's not like what they talk about.
Right.
All the places that they were at, they're like, we're pretty safe for what, they talk about on the news. And like I say, you get outside the city and it's beautiful.
Oh,
and,
man.
Very rural. And you can definitely tell that a lot of, for me, even as well, when you think of New York, you just think New York City, but there's a lot more to it than that. And when I had that clinic, I remember what you said, there was some nice horses out there that day. Yeah. It was fun over there too. And that's the furthest east I've been. That was really fun.
Yeah.
So as many clinics as you've gotten and where you're at in your career, and it's a Hall of Fame career, obviously we talked about that, but for the next generation coming up, that little girl that's idolizing being a breakaway roper for where things are evolving, what would you tell that up and coming girl that's wanting to be a professional breakaway roper?
Well, just keep after it, like just keep evolving and keep following your dreams. And I tell people that all the time that, I get asked like, why did you decide to keep roping? When you were, when you got started, they were or when you got out of college, they were telling you, you need to get a job, you need to do this. There's nothing beyond college for you really. And I said, I guess I never quit believing that I was going to do what my brother did. And, he went to the NFR and the calf roping and stuff. And I just I wanted to rope at Cheyenne. I wanted to rope at Salinas. I wanted to rope at all those places. I just never quit believing that I was going to do that. And, they keep adding rodeos for us every year. St. Paul this year. I mean, they just keep adding more money and, and keep going. And I just tell them to, work hard and keep following your dreams and don't give up on that. And just be whatever you want to be, because there's nothing that you can't do. I just feel that way. If you want it bad enough, you can get it accomplished. I just tell them to, keep following their hearts and do what they set out to do as little kids. When they set their goal as a little kid, achieve it.
You talked about evolving, and it's amazing where things have evolved to. The Kimes Ranch breakaway NFR that they're going to have at the end of November. That's going to be probably as big as things for breakaway roping as it's gotten to at this point.
Yeah, it's the biggest at this point. An event. I mean, $1 million breakaway. Who would have ever thought that? I mean, I was going to breakaway ropings when they were getting 8 and 10 people. And now we're having $1 million breakaway. The WCRA having these events that, pay $60,000 an event. $25,000 an event. I mean, just given just all the opportunities that we're getting as breakaway ropers. I mean, it's just getting so big. I think now I'd heard something like there's 900 cards or something, roping cards bought in the WPRA or something like that. And I mean, I can remember being like in the TCRA back in the amateur organization being like 63. And now there's 900 with cards bought in the WPRA, not counting the other ones that don't have a WPRA card. There's no telling how many, ropers that, Chris Neal, helping with this Kimes Ranch breakaway. And he was asking the other day how many people we thought, would be at a qualifier. And I'm like, I think at the first American qualifier, to get into the American was like 480 something ropers. And I see at least that, if not more, trying to get into the Kimes Ranch $1 million breakaway.
Because there's no age limit.
No.
And there's a few different ways. I think, if I remember right, 3 different ways you can qualify. If you're in the top 10,
yep,
you're seated in there. And then I think other than that, there's
a couple different
ropings that you can get through.
Chance.
And then the last chance. And what's $70,000 average, $30,000 rounds. There's going to be 10 of them. And so the top 10 girls, they're seated, correct? And so 15 more girls outside of the top 10 girls from the end going in the NFR, another 15 girls are going to be able to get qualified. So anybody has a chance.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
No, it's amazing. And that's like I said, there might be a 12-year-old win it. I mean, the 12-year-olds rope as good as anyone, and there's no telling what it could be. It could be someone my age or older that wins it.
Well, what about that young girl that won the Kid Rock rodeo last week? How old was she?
She, what was that, 16?
That's rank.
Yeah, I love it.
What a stage that she was in right there.
Oh, man.
Golly. It's exciting to see where rodeo and breakaway roping is going. I think so much prestige and the dream, like I said, Jackie says, it's, the money's great, but no one will ever be able to fulfill the dream of being on the rope with that Thomas and Mack Yellow Arena and things like that.
Right.
What do you feel it's going to take to be able to get it to that point, do you think?
I mean,
kind of a $1 million question, I'm sure.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, my opinion is, why not? I mean, breakaway roping brings so much to the industry. I mean, we're women, and like we're the ones that spend the money. The women go to the grocery store. The women go buy the men's clothes. I mean, it's one of those things where it's the horses. Look at what the market has done on the horses, the fraternities. Like, look at the like you can train a breakaway horse and sell them for $100,000 right now. It's crazy what breakaway roping has done for the entire industry, and everybody sees it. even the people that maybe are not getting it into the NFR or into the Thomas and Mack, I mean, they already know. I mean, they know what it's done for rodeo or for the industry. So I just think that it's just going to take the right people to say yes, and then it'll be there, because I think the proof has already been done. And I mean, people love to watch it. It's fast. The horses are great. The girls rope amazing. It's unbelievable to watch. I love to watch it. And I mean, look at women's basketball. I mean, look at Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, I mean, look what she's done, for the WNBA. And I mean, I know there's other ladies that have done great things too, but I'm just saying it's just cool what, where women have gone, and we only have one women's event in pro rodeo, and adding breakaway adds 2 women's events. And I mean, it's just going to be the right people pulling the trigger, and it should be there.
Well, and a guy that, has a wife that ropes and 2 girls that rope, and 3 counting Cheyenne, but it's the opportunity that you think that a girl has 2 chances to be able to make a living.
Yeah.
You can either do the speed events or you can rope. And instead of just everyone always had one.
Yeah.
And to be able to make the barrel racing finals, in my opinion, was there's so many things outside of your element, of your hands, because to find that right horse is a needle in a haystack. And so that is a tough line of work. You think about the girls that made it on multiple horses, how handy was those girls, because just to find one is the lottery ticket of that. I would be curious what the stats are on that, because I've seen plenty of girls that can dang sure ride them, but to find that horse is tough. And at least this gives girls another chance to have a little bit more, obviously another chance.
Yeah.
But then to have more ability with your right hand and your rope and your horsemanship. And I love the fact of the opportunity I think Journey's going to have as well, to where I think it's going to be there by then, because it's grown leaps and bounds in the last 5 years.
Oh yeah, I mean it has, and so many people have helped with that, and so many people have, helped it to grow. I mean, it's just crazy what it's done. I mean, I guess I always knew that it was for some reason, or I still wouldn't be doing it. But it's just so cool to watch, and the people with the ideas, just like the Combs Ranch. I mean, that idea and giving us the opportunity to do that. And
think of the loyalty that I think Kimes Ranch is going to have with the young girls growing up.
Yeah.
They're going to be extremely loyal, because those Kimes Ranch could be the one thing that probably puts a huge stamp on being able to put enough pressure to possibly get it to that yellow arena as well.
Yeah.
Because if it's like, okay, if you're not going to have it, then fine,
That's
someone else will.
We'll do. Yeah.
And so I think the loyalty they're going to gain from that is a great marketing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially when we all know that the girls and women are the ones that do spend the money.
Yeah.
So if you have a product that if you have something for sale, you're going to, that $1 million is going to come back probably, I hope, tenfold for them.
Yeah, I do too.
For what they're doing for the industry.
100%.
And then not only that too, is he looking at the rope horse futurities for the breakaway. I've seen where Taylor Munsell won $73,000 at one of the rope horse futurities breakaway. Yeah. So it's great for the ropers and the girls that are training, and it's starting to become a cowgirl's going to have a pretty good chance, it looks like, to be able to have a bright future, I think, in the breakaway roping. Yeah,
and make a living with their rope.
Mm-hmm.
That was just, like I said, in my era, it was just, that was unheard of. And now it's going to be, I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's not easy, but they have huge opportunities to be able to do that.
So how much longer do you think you're going to keep driving up and down this road?
I don't know how long I'm going to drive up and down the road, but I'm going to rope until I can't rope anymore.
That part I agree with.
Yeah.
That part I agree with. I was curious how much longer you're going to keep, how much longer, because everyone's the reason I asked that, because so many people asked to Jackie.
Yeah.
Including me.
Yeah, exactly.
Not in a bad way, but every once in a while, this is kind of nice to know, what's the goal here? Because I know for both of you, I think it's going to mean so much to be able to know that you had so much to do with getting that in the yellow arena.
Yeah.
It's gone everywhere else. Like as we talked, where the fraternities are going. it's at Kid Rock's rodeo.
Yeah.
It's at the American now, and y'all are eligible for the million. There's $1 million side rodeos coming up all over the place now.
Yeah.
And y'all are not even questioned. You guys are in on all those, which I think is great. Kid Rock, they said the other day, I was talking to Trevor, and he said that they're going to try to have a few more of them next year, to where I think like Bob Seger's going to try to have one of those rodeos.
Awesome.
I think some more artists are going to start having more of these rodeos.
Dang, surely I'll get invited to that one. That's old school.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's night moves right there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge Seeger fan.
Me too.
But just that crowd that he's bringing into rodeo, I'm so excited to see where that could go, because you're bringing in new eyeballs now into this event, and like we talked earlier, a lot of people enjoy watching that breakaway, and so I'm excited for what the future has as far as where rodeo is going.
Well, and like you said, all the places that you go in the world, they all want to be a cowboy. A cowboy or a cowgirl. Like anywhere you go, like they see a cowboy hat in New York City, they're gonna flog you because you got a cowboy hat on. I mean, it's being a cowboy or a cowgirl is huge in our, in the world in the United States. I mean, everywhere really, but it's just like, it's crazy that now. I mean, maybe Yellowstone helped it a lot.
I've heard a lot of credit has gone to Yellowstone, and I agree with it.
I do too.
Because being cowboy has gotten cool again.
Yeah, it is.
And like Kid Rock says, you go where you're celebrated, not tolerated.
That's right.
And he is so celebrated in this industry. And for him to come up with that rodeo that he did last weekend, and to make timed events that fun to watch, that's what I kept telling everyone. I'm telling you, this dude's an artist. This guy knows how to make things entertaining. And he had timed events being the funnest thing to watch at his rodeo.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I can't tell you how excited I am for him to be a part of this.
Me too.
So how do we follow you? What are all the things you have going on? I know that, you're founder of the Rope Like a Girl, a lot of the logos and some of the campaigns you guys have with the caps and everything like that. Talk to me about a lot of that stuff. And also, roping.com. If you're wanting to learn how to rope like Lari Dee, like you have outlets and a lot of videos and things like that on a subscription base to where you can learn also how to rope. So what are a lot of the things you have going on outside of just going to rodeos?
The schools, I try to do a lot of clinics, still whenever I can. And then, the roping.com, it has so many different people on there that you can, learn from. It's huge for anybody that wants to rope. I think they need to be a part of roping.com.
How do you get on that?
Go to roping.com and, I'm not real good with the computer and all that, but you just get you, subscription to that, and
it'll walk you through it. If
you
go to roping.com, you can walk through it and pick who you want to follow.
Yep. And once you are, you can look at any of it that's on there. I mean, Trevor's on there. I mean, so many people are on there.
Yeah. I remember Trevor and Miles,
Hope. Yeah.
And also too is like, what about your merch? Like you guys got some pretty cool merch with the Rope Like a Girl.
Yeah. The Rope Like a Girl is, it was just, it's cool. I mean, it was kind of like you said, it was something that when I was younger, roping like a girl wasn't what you wanted to do. You're like, you don't need to rope like a girl. And I said, later on, after you think about it, when Chelsea Toy come to me and said, you think you can make roping, rope like a girl cool? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'll try. And, the more that I thought about it, I thought, man, we are girls. Mm-hmm. And I just want to be, embrace it. And then I want all these little girls to be badass girls. Mm-hmm. So, that Hui took on our brand, and, Cactus makes some stuff for us, Nothing But Neck Breakaways, 5-star. There's just a lot of people that license it and, make stuff. And then we have a nonprofit that we don't know for sure what we're going to do with it, but we're going to do good things with it. We're going to help, some way, somehow, women, kids. We don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to help people in the industry somehow with that. And,
so how do we get some Rope Like a Girl merch?
They have rope. You can go look it up. It's all on social media. Hui makes it. Hui brands.
So is it ropelikeagirl.com?
Yeah.
So if we get on that, then we can be able to look at all
this.
.net
as the nonprofit, and then you can go to you can get on Hui's website, and then they have all different kinds of licensed things, and you can order the caps, the shirts. Lots of stores have it in there, Cavender's, Boot Barns, those kind of stores. So it's
Easy
out
to
there.
find.
Yeah, pretty easy to find. I wish it was easier. I wish it was bigger, but
It will.
it'll get there.
What about your clinic? So if a girl's wanting to come to one of your clinics, is there any way they can find that out? Do you have a website?
I do. The website we don't use as much. I need to get it redone a little bit more.
It's got to be hard now. As many rodeos y'all have to go to as well.
Yeah, and the clinics, it's kind of last minute. Like it's almost like we'll just put something on social media. Hey, we're going to be in California for a couple weeks. Does anybody in this area want to have one? And it's right now, breakaway roping's so big that you can film in a week.
Yeah. It's pretty
in a
bad
couple
when I'm
days.
getting phone calls.
Yeah.
Because you girls are all rodeoing.
Yeah.
What about how do we follow you? So to watch your career this summer and to follow you, how do we follow you?
Well, just I'm Instagram and Facebook, and it's just my name, Lari Dee Guy, on there.
How do you spell it?
LariDeeGuy. And there won't be another one on there, so they'll be able to find it pretty easy.
I love it. I love the uniqueness.
Yeah.
Well, I'm rooting for you, cowgirl.
I appreciate it.
Glad to get you on. Your story's so great, and what you've done for the industry and the person you are, and it's been fun to watch, and it's been fun to say the other day. I just got so tickled when you came over here and got greed over here and was running a couple of steers over here, and just to be able to watch just the different techniques and different ways of how people ride their horses, and I just enjoy watching that stuff. And you're a legend and good friend, and thanks for keeping my kids straight out there on the road too as well. Appreciate that.
Well, spoiling them maybe, not keeping them straight, but I'm good at that.
Keeping them fed and keeping an eye on them. That's
right.
Thing. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I've enjoyed it.
We'll do good out there, and we'll hopefully be rallying back and love to see you at the finals this year.
Yep. Hope to see you.
Dang sure see you at the old Combs Ranch.
That's right.
That's right. Awesome. All right. We'll do good out there this year, and good luck.
Thanks.